Hi guys, Craig Nickel from The Bricks. Today we're talking about the first step in my investment formula, which is understanding your financial position. And this is so important because you need to know what you can actually spend to actually buy a property. So the first step here is to work out how much you can actually spend each month after you have all your other expenses. So the first step is to work out what your budget is. The more detailed, the better. Many of you out there might already have a budget. If you don't, you need to get one in place so that you can work out what you have left to spend. When talking about financial position, you would have already thought about your deposit or equity on how you're going to purchase a property. But what we're talking about here is budget. Now, what we need to work out is for you, how much are you spending each month on your groceries, on your car, on everything? So for example, every month you might have a payment you need to make for rent or your current mortgage on your house. Let's say that that's $2,000. And then you've got living expenses. Your living expenses are $1,500 a month. You've got your car payments, which are $500 a month. And then you've got your insurances as well. So your health insurance, your car insurance, you're paying about $200 a month, let's say. And that totals to $4,200. And then we need to work out how much money is coming in. What have you got coming in from your income? Let's say it's, for this example, $6,000. Then we can see from the $6,000, when you minus what's going out each month at $4,200, you have $1,800 in surplus. Now, I know this is a very high level calculation, but we can already see that if you stick to that budget, that you have a surplus of $1,800 to put into something else. The budgeting side of things was something I was really bad at when I was younger. I didn't track any of my expenses, and a lot of the money at the end of each month had just disappeared and I didn't know where it had gone. This is something though that I've gotten a lot better at and a lot more detailed at to make sure that I can track every cent and ensure that as much as possible is going into my investments. So for me, I use professional accounting software in conjunction with Microsoft Excel. Now, I'm not sponsored by them, but I do use Xero accounting software to be able to make sure that I can reconcile every single transaction, much like a business, so I can track where all my money is going and really capture that surplus. With Excel, it's much more of a basic spreadsheet where I'm able to see each month and each year what I'm expecting to incur in expenses and what income is meant to come in. So I have a basic overview as well. And Xero just allows me to track it a lot more accurately so I can capture every single cent that comes in and out. So once you have your detailed budget in place, then you can work out what your negative cash flow tolerance is. This is about how much money that you can invest into property. So negative, meaning that you're losing this money and it's going out. So how much negative cash flow can you tolerate into the future? And that brings us to step 2, which is about your comfort levels. So what I'm talking about with comfort level is how much money can you invest without stressing yourself out each and every month? Worrying about how you're going to find that money to be able to pay the mortgage, because that's not the way that you want to live, and that's not the way you want to passively invest in property for the longer term. It's going to cause issues in the short term. You might want to sell the property because you're way too stressed, and that completely goes against all of the strategy. And that's why it's so important to work out what your comfort level is. So the way that I measure it for myself is sleep at night factor. So how much money am I able to spend each month on mortgages or investment and be able to sleep at night? Everyone's sleep at night factor is a little bit different. So this will help dictate the next part of the strategy, because if you're happy to tolerate a higher amount of negative cash flow, then a negative gearing strategy may be the path you take. If not, then you're looking more at getting passive income from positively geared properties, which is a completely different strategy altogether, or you might have a mix of the two. So this is why it's so important to get this step right. So whichever strategy that we do eventually choose, remember that property investing is all about the long term. And that's why we're trying to work out what your financial position is so that we can make sure that our long-term strategy is going to work for you so that you don't end up falling short and having to sell your properties in a short amount of time, which will then not allow you to achieve the goals and the outcomes that we want. We know that with property investment and property markets in general, they will go up and down and they'll move up and down. So you need to be able to have the cash in place to be able to hold onto your properties for the longer term. And this introduces us into the next step, which I always do, is to have cash buffers on all of your properties to ensure that you can actually hold your properties for the longer term. For cash buffers, for me, it's really important that you have 3 months expenses for that property put to the side, sitting in an offset account. It doesn't matter if that property is positively geared or negatively geared. You've got to plan for the worst and hope for the best. So that includes council rates, your water rates. You know, you're going to have to pay land tax for a lot of these properties, owners corporation fees, insurance, management fees. They're all there, and you're allowing for that in your buffer just in case there is something down the track that pops up, or a maintenance issue that does pop up that you need to get rectified. So do your numbers, work out what you can spend, and then we can start the journey knowing your financial position, and we can build a plan from that point of view to be able to get the best possible outcome for yourself. Thanks for watching again. It's Craig Nicol. Subscribe if you like the content. Make sure to put your comments below. We'd love to hear from you and get some feedback. Till next time, the bricks.